was hoping that this is just gonna be a quick rundown of what's gonna happen for the next half of the semester, because based on the outputs and based on the feedback that I got from other students, I have a few things that I want to remind you guys. And I also have a few things that I'm hoping could help you out as we move on to the more difficult part of the coursework. Okay, because like what I have mentioned at the beginning of the semester, um, we will be doing a lot of writing, and the first three activities that you just had, that was just the tip of the iceberg, kumbaga. Okay, there's more to come. There are bigger things ahead. And with the way things are going on right now, I'm competing with your other requirements as well. So I was hoping, of course, to assist you in some kind of a way. All right. So now that the session is recording, can you please type your full name on the chat box so that I would know who are with me today? Just type your full name on the chat box. Thank you. And I'm just trying to access TBL Hub right now. Is it loading? Have you accessed TBL Hub this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po.
Until
Is
now.
Yes,
it
ma'am.
is
For
it is
attendance.
it yeah, is it loading just fine? No.
Yes, ma'am. Yes po.
Okay. Because sometimes it gets way too slow, and we're trying to solve the issue of it loading way too slow. Okay, so all right, before anything else, before I start presenting my screen, let's talk first about your midterm grades. I have already posted the copy of your midterm grades on on our Facebook group, and I hope you had time to browse or check if there are any discrepancies or if there are requirements that you have missed. So any concerns, questions, clarifications that you want to make regarding your midterm grades? Yes, Desiree, go ahead.
Yung sa activity 2.4 po, ma'am, 0 po yung nakalagay dun sa page ko, pero nagbasa na po.
Have you messaged me before about it? Not yet.
Yes po. Nag-message po ako.
When did you message me?
Nung last week po ata.
And still no score?
Yes po, ma'am.
Let me check on. Can you message me again, please, on Facebook, Desiree, just so I can check it? Because sometimes sobrang natatabunan. This is why I don't like I don't like my students submitting via Facebook Messenger, because sometimes the messages are how do I say this, being flooded with other messages. Okay, so Desiree just messaged me so I can check it out. Pia, you have any other concerns?
Yung katulad din po, ma'am, kay Desiree po.
2.4 as well?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, because activity 2.3, 2.4, and 2.7, I have to manually check all of it because obviously they need short answers and long answers. So that's why I had to manually check everything. If I missed anything, it's probably because you either completed it after I after I posted our initial class record, remember? I think that was posted last April 24. So you probably have completed it after that. That's why I wasn't able to go back to it just yet. Okay, so please, for those who have activities that I wasn't able to record, especially from 2.1 up until 2.7, and you have already completed it way before, please do message me on Facebook so I can check it later and then add your score to my class record. Okay? Pia and Desiree, I'm expecting the two of you to please message me later. Who else? Any other concerns, clarifications that you want to make? Have you read the, what do I call this? Have you read the comments that I made on your essay?
Yes,
po,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
All right. Any concerns regarding any clarifications that you want to make regarding those comments? Yes, Mark, go ahead.
Ay, ma'am, ayun ma'am, okay lang po yung comment kaso di ko lang po sure kung putol po siya or ano po kasi yung last word po is if. Tapos naisip ko, if
Pipindutin.
what? If what? Yung po
If
parang,
talaga?
opo.
Ma'am,
May
pipindutin
pipindot.
lang po yung
I-click
na parang last line dun po sa may taas, katabi
Oo,
ng
meron
feedback.
daw. Oo, meron daw. Because I don't know. On my end, it shows full. And actually, the reason, this is something that I discovered. I don't know if you I don't know if you already know this technique, but you know, speech to text recognition. So
Yes po.
I actually use my iPad to check the submissions on TBL Hub because it's easier. I just have to scroll and it's easier for me. And then I discovered while I was checking your submissions, your essay submissions, I discovered that there's an option on my iPad keyboard for speech to text. So my speech is converted to text. So that's the reason why I was able to give long comments this time on your essays compared to other. I was able to give more, how do I say this? More personalized feedback based on what I've read from your essay. So, yun nga, kasi mas napadali, I don't have to type it anymore. And you know how difficult it is to type on an iPad. So, that function was very, very useful for me. That's why I was able to give longer feedback. So, kapag hindi nyo nakita yung longer feedback ko, I don't know what happened. But some of your classmates are saying that you just need to click something. Okay. Yes, Mark, go ahead. You're about to say something.
Kakakita ko lang po. Okay na po pa.
Okay na. So there.
Sorry
Alright.
po.
Because I also don't know the side of the students, though I can view it, but of course I don't have time to view it. But I don't know how it shows on you. But on my end, it shows the entire thing kasi. And then I just have to click save grade and parang feedback ata yun. Basta I just need to click something and everything else will be saved. So that's it. Any other questions, concerns, any clarifications you want to make regarding writing the essay? Because you will be writing all of our activities. There are no more quizzes. All of the activities that we are going to be having for the next half of the semester will be writing activities. So you will be expected to produce an output every week or every 2 weeks. Concerns, clarifications that you want to make? Yes, Nick, go ahead.
Ma'am, about po dun sa entry ko is, I present, ma'am, different roles of media and dun po dun sa reference ko, ma'am, included po, parang naka-exclude po yung kunyari, for example, media as surveillance function, ma'am. Naka-title po, then may content. Then, ang ginawa ko po dun, ma'am, is sinama ko po siya sa sentence and you have a comment po dun na I can improve my punctuation mark, ma'am. In what way po, ma'am? Pwede ko po bang i-up na lang po yung mismong heading na yun, ma'am, to make it ano po?
Yes, you can just remove it. You can just remove it or transform it because that particular heading was just a phrase. So basically, it's not a complete sentence. Why do you need a punctuation mark for it? That's my point. Okay.
Okay.
So you can just transform it. It's okay. If you don't want to remove it, you can transform it. For example, next we're gonna cover, or not next we're gonna cover. Other than the aforementioned role of media also plays blah 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 blah. So transform it into a sentence. Don't adapt the entire thing from your reference, okay, to your text. I get it that of course, obviously you're recognizing that it's not from you. However, that's not really the way to go when including or incorporating sources in your own essays. Okay, so Nick, you can just transform it into a complete sentence, and or you can just forgo it completely. Because if your paragraph was already talking about it, then definitely if it was stated clearly in there, no need for a heading.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you po.
All
Thank
right.
you, ma'am.
Desiree, you want to say something?
Yung sa comment mo po ma'am sa essay ko, what do you mean by MB po?
Oh my God. Baka mali yan ng ano. Wait, you had an interesting discussion on how blank. Parang mali to. What was your topic, Desiree?
Roles of women in the society po.
Sorry.
Roles of women in the society.
Roles of women in the society.
Society po apo.
Okay, so I think that's it. Baka yung yung speech to text recognition lang yung mali, hindi ko lang na-correct. But basically what I'm trying to say is that you had an interesting discussion on whatever topic was that you covered. However, you need to support it with you need to support all of these claims by providing more supporting details and specific examples. Bakit hindi siya na-correct? Baka nagmamadali na ako nung ginawa ko to. Ayun. So, what I'm just saying is that, okay, so here's the thing. This is a common comment in all of your work, in most of your works. Okay? Funny thing is that sometimes you incorporate ideas from other sources, but you tend to forget to support those information. There is always a reason why you included those information. It's either that's the support that you need for your main argument, or that's the argument that you want to support eventually with your own ideas. Okay? So sometimes that gets lost during the writing session because you're so eager to incorporate more, and you're so eager to incorporate more references, you're so eager to incorporate more sources because you found a lot of information, so you wanted to put them all in there. What happens is that it seems as if parang nagpatong-patong lang siya. It just piled up and it just piled up until you lost the sense of it all was gone. The flow of the thought was gone. So you also need to consider how the ideas will flow, not just incorporating it. Nagets ba ako? I hope I made myself clear. Yon. Okay. And then, of course, for example, if you have a particular argument, for example, women are not treated well in the workplace, give specific examples, give specific experiences. It could be from the references, from the studies, okay? Or it could be from your general observations in the society, like how are they mistreated in the workplace? What are some of the experiences of women wherein they experience discrimination in the workplace? So ganun, you need to support it. Always support your argument, your claim. It's not enough that, ma'am, nandun na naman siya sa journal, nandun na naman siya sa libro na pinagkuhanan ko ng information. That's not enough. You, of course, have to ensure that it is always backed up. Lagi siyang may supporting details. Okay? Kasi sometimes, yun yung napansin ko eh. Sometimes, parang incomplete yung thought. It's there, the argument is there, it was presented, however, the way that it was supported was not enough. So, medyo doon nagkakatalo yung mga essays ninyo. And of course, you also need to ensure that there is coherence among your presented ideas. All of your main ideas in your body or discussion must always lead or go back to your thesis statement. Lahat yan, dapat lagi babalik at babalik siya dun sa thesis statement mo. So, if your thesis statement, for example, let's go to the role of women in society. If your thesis statement was, women play different roles in a society, dapat, ang mga main ideas mo sa discussion mo, yung iba't ibang role ng women in society. And for each role, you give it supporting details and you give specific evidence or examples. Ganon. So, halimbawa, ano ba yung mga roles ng women in society? For example, you have mother figure. Ano pa ba? Ano pa bang roles ng women in society? Kasi we can play different roles na right now. So, you can also argue with that. Okay? So, ayun, marami kasi siyang pwedeng puntahan. So, make sure that everything else, all of your discussion, will always go back to your thesis statement. Yun lang yan. Lagi nyo tatanungin sarili nyo, na ito bang nilalagay ko dito, kapag tinanong ako, how does it relate to my thesis statement, mako-connect ko? Kasi kapag hindi nyo nasagot yung tanong na yun, then definitely, maybe you need to scrap that particular argument or idea. So, that's it. Always go back to your thesis statement. Even in writing your own thesis, kapag nagsulat na kayo ng thesis, alam nyo ba, I'm writing my thesis kasi right now, and lagi yan ang tanong ng teacher, ng professor. Like, so what? What's the connection of this to your problem, to your argument? Yun. So, in writing your essays, similarly, ganun din po. Okay? There were essays that I found were well researched. Ang ganda, na parang alam niyo yung review of related literature na siya. Ganun yung datingan niya. So, that's a very good start because you're one step closer to writing your very own research paper. So, reading, it's very evident that they read what they have researched on. So, yon. Kilala nyo naman yan kung sino, I mean, you know yourselves. So, you already saw the grades, you already saw the comments that I made, and you know who you are. Ayun, there were really a lot of good, especially in your class, there were a lot of good essays, and I had fun reading them as well. There were also new information that I got presented with. Okay, meron pa ako isang estudyante from another class though. I had another student who used the essay, who used this opportunity or who took this opportunity to write their review of related literature in their investigatory project. So, iba-iba silang topics na kinover na related dun sa IP nila. Okay, pero at least, diba, in a way, that helped them as well. And they got feedback on how to write it properly as well. All right, any other concerns, clarifications that you want to make regarding midterm grades, midterm requirements? None?
Wala na po ata.
Nana po ata.
Wala na po ata. Okay, another comment pala. Another comment that I've noticed, very common as well. Capitalization. Guys, capitalization rules in the English language are quite simple. If it's the beginning of a sentence, capitalize. If it's the pronoun I, though we don't use personal pronouns pala ha, we avoid using personal pronouns in academic essays. I, particularly the word I. Okay? We don't use it in in academic essays. However, if you use it in a sentence, the word I, as in ako, me, or ako. Ako, tama. Ako, it's always capitalized. It's never gonna be in lowercase. It's always capitalized. Ano pa ba? Always check, for those who wrote about COVID-19, please check how COVID-19 is written. Merong standard dyan. May standard format for writing COVID-19. And be careful of those things as well, because especially if you're writing academic essays that are more technical in nature, for example, survey report or a technical report or a concept paper, definitely you will be required to look for those rules on writing. Capitalization is very important because sometimes it might be, how do I say this? A proper noun, a brand, a title. So be careful with your capitalization as well. Punctuation marks, not so much, because there's really no need for you to use, the complicated or complex punctuation marks such as colon, semicolon, yan. Hindi naman natin masyadong ginamit yan. We'll just stick with comma and period, and of course, question mark for asking questions. So, yun naman, di naman ako masyado nagka-problema with that. Medyo tad-tad lang minsan sa commas, but eventually you'll get the hang of it anyway. If you continue to write and your papers will always get the right amount of critic, then definitely it will improve on that. It's just that right now, ang hirap I have my pencil with me for the iPad. However, it's very difficult for me to write comments on what you have written because that means I have to cover what you have written. So, I really didn't put write how do I say handwritten notes on your submissions for that reason alone. Doon na lang ako sa comment section nag-comment. And hindi naman tayo doon naka-focus right now. What we're focusing is how to really construct the essay as is. Okay, the thought of it, the meaning, and of course, the general structure of the essay. So, ayun. Any other concerns? If you have any concerns, kung wala na po, we can move on to the next part of our agenda. Okay, our next agenda for today is midterm grades. Okay na tayo?
Okay na po,
Yes po, ma'am.
ata.
Okay na ha? Because I will not be accepting any more changes. Ano ba? Hindi na ako magtatanggap ng mga late changes for midterm grades. And me personally, I don't know for your other teachers, but my midterm grade will not change anymore once I submit it. So, pag naipasa ko na to within the day, ay wala na, hindi na to pwedeng baguhin. Bawi na lang sa next part ng semester. Okay? But I think in your class naman, we don't have any problems. So, ayun lang. Alright, let me present TBL Hub first, just so you have an idea. You have an idea of what we're going to be doing for the next half of the term. Okay, so can you see my screen now?
Yes po,
Yes
ma'am.
Opo,
Yes
ma'am.
po,
Okay,
ma'am.
so this is TBL Hub. I think this is your class, for you. Okay, so we finished with writing strategies for academic and professional texts. Basically, these are the general rules in terms of constructing essays or formulating your essays. All right, so you already have an idea, you already have an experience. Now let's try to take it up a notch. Therefore, let's put more structure to it. Okay, so for lesson 5, which actually supposedly begins today, but since we have a synchronous session right now, I'll make the video available later today. However, if you have been to my Facebook channel, my YouTube channel, my teacher YouTube channel, then definitely you can already see a discussion on this one, on the reading and writing playlist. Kasi kinover din naman to sa reading and writing. So it's just the same discussion. However, I'm just gonna make a video. Same video din yung gagamitin ko. Yun din yun. Kaya lang, lalagyan ko lang ng intro na EAPP. So if you cannot wait for that, then maybe you can start watching the video from reading and writing. Because it's the same. Even if you check the handout, that's the same. Okay? In the module that was prepared by HSU, hindi kasi ako gumawa nun, this discussion, lesson 5 and lesson 6 were just the same. However, I believe that they're completely two different things, okay? A review paper is written differently from a book critic, okay? At ang book review, tandaan nyo, a book review, the one that you were used to doing, making in your, back in junior high school, it's not the same as a book critic. Alright? Kung ang book review nyo, dilalagay nyo lang doon, who are the characters, what is the setting, what are the events of the story, what is the climax, okay? That's not the case in a book critic. It's more, how do I say this? It's more technical in aspect, and we're not just looking at the story itself, we're looking at the entirety of the publication. So it includes, of course, the author. Okay? I have, dito muna tayo focus. So there, that's basically why I put it on a different lesson. Okay, so lesson 5, it's review, reaction, or response paper. Basically, for this activity, you need to come up with a review or reaction paper lang naman to. Response paper is somehow if there's a question that has been thrown to you. Okay, for example, it left a question, it left something for the readers or the viewers to think about, then maybe that's your response to it. Okay, or maybe it's an issue that you have to respond to. But for this particular activity, you will be asked, or you will be asked to watch one documentary. So perhaps since yung student kayo, medyo exposed na kayo sa mga docus, and I think many of you have already watched the documentaries that I have chosen here. So, madali na yan, okay? But please, if you have already made, how do I say this, a review or reaction paper to it from your other class, please don't try to improve it naman. Okay? Don't submit the same thing to me. I have no way of knowing it. But academic integrity na lang tayo dito. Academic honesty na lang tayo. Kasi that's a form of self-plagiarism. Okay? So, ayan. But I'm guessing, since you're yung students, you're all familiar with the docus I have included here. Okay, so for that, you will be asked to do a response, review, reaction, or reaction paper. So that's the first how do I say this? First requirement for the next half of the term. So 1. Okay, second one is the book critic. I have already mentioned this one back during our first meeting, as in way back pa. Okay, and I've already told you to prepare for it by reading a book. So if you haven't read a book by now, oh my God, start reading a book now. Okay, because I know when someone does not or was not able to read a book, and that would incur as a lower grade. Yes, Nick, you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Particular po dun sa book. What genre po, ma'am?
There's no particular genre that I'm requiring you to read. The only requirement that I have is the book that you choose to read has to be or has to have a physical copy. So for example, you already have an ebook copy of it, and or for example, you have already read it in a digital format. It's okay. Okay? You don't need to buy a physical copy, but I want that book. For example, you gave me the title. If I go to National Bookstore, Fully Booked, or any other bookstores in the country, I need to find that book physically. So mangas are okay as long as they're physically published. They have physical publications. Stories from Wattpad, as long as they were already physically published. What else? Pocketbooks. If you want, you can do a book critic of the Bible, given if you have already read it from cover to cover. Okay, and then what else? No textbooks. Textbooks are not allowed, and please avoid the wait. I'm still contemplating if I should or should not. No, let's take it up a notch. Please do not use children's books. So no children's books. Ang dami ko palang bawal. So no children's books, no textbooks. Yun lang. And no stories that have not been physically published. Yun lang. But of course, due to limited resources, you can always look for the ebook format or the digital format. I'm not requiring you to read the physical copy, but when I search for it, it has to have a physical copy. Am I making myself clear? I hope I made myself clear.
Yes, opo, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay po. All right. So I might be I might be babbling. So, there. Okay. All right. So, that's number 2. Review or reaction paper, and then a book critic. And I'm guessing if you are a bookworm, it's quite easy for you. Don't worry for those who have not made a book critic before. I have here several guide questions. Guide questions, guide questions. Ibig sabihin, you can opt not to follow it, but if you're having a hard time, these guide questions can help you out. Okay, so ayon. Alright. Madalas kasi kapag nabasa na talaga nila yung libro, hindi na nila kailangan ng guide questions. And especially if they're from an author they know, yan, yung mga ganyan. Okay. You know what? Sige, sasabihin ko na, an interesting fact about, or an interesting tidbit about book critics, what makes it very interesting is that you can always relate it back to the author. So, merong influence, there's always an assumption that somehow the author influences the story. So, kahit nasabihin yung figment of imagination niya yan, lalo na kapag fiction books, but somehow, there's a sense of may personal touch pa rin siya. So, somehow it connects. Because when I was teaching creative writing, I love talking about book authors. Kasi naka-reflect yung personality nila usually dun sa book na sinusulat nila. I don't know if you're familiar with Sylvia Plath. Meron bang may kilala sa kanya dito?
Ako, ma'am, hindi po.
Hindi. Raise hand nga kung merong may kilala kay Sylvia Plath. Author of The Bell Jar. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, that's the only novel that she was able to publish. But she was famous for being a poet. Okay, so Sylvia Plath was this lady from 70s, 60s, I forgot, but from long ago, from a generation long ago. And The Bell Jar is her novel. So I read The Bell Jar when I was in college for a requirement in school because I was taking up world literature back then as one of my classes. So I read The Bell Jar for that particular class, and that book spoke to me in so many levels. Kasi back then, I was experiencing a lot of troubles in my life, and I was not familiar with the concept of depression. I was not familiar with the concept of being, at a dark place in your life. So that particular book is a reflection actually of the life of Sylvia Plath. Though there was no clear indication on it, or there were really no references to her life. However, Sylvia Plath was actually known for committing trigger warning. She actually committed suicide because back then, syempre 'di ba, during those olden times, hindi pa familiar yung concept ng depression, ng mental health. Okay, so mental health issues were frowned upon. Okay, so pag-iinarte lang 'yon back then sa kanila, even in Western countries back then. So ayun, so she was experiencing a lot of things, and The Bell Jar was somehow a reflection of those experiences of hers. So when I researched, I didn't know the background of Sylvia Plath before I read the book. So when I got interested in the book, I finished it, I researched about her, and then I found out that, trigger warning, she committed suicide. Okay, and then, alam niyo kung paano siya nag-suicide? Trigger warning ulit. Sorry. Pero, I really like giving it as an example, especially in book critics. Kasi Sylvia Plath, she committed suicide because she was misunderstood. Hindi niya mabalance yung emotions niya. Hindi niya alam yung gagawin niya. So there was no help for her. And ayan nga. And she committed suicide by putting her head inside an oven. So ganun siya kalala. As in, may mga memes, sometimes sometimes, of course, right now, people are making fun of the way that she committed suicide. But if you read The Bell Jar, so for those who are book readers, bookworms there, I'm suggesting read The Bell Jar. The Bell Jar, yung title. Ayun, you would know the struggles of a young lady. Ayan. So, which is, if you're going to relate it back to the author, ay napakagandang diskusyon on a book critic. Kasi yun nga, especially that it's her only published novel. So, ayun. Ano pa ba? What else? Relating to the author. Harry Potter, even Harry Potter, for those who are familiar with Harry Potter, why is it that there were a lot of mother figures in Harry Potter? Bakit buhay na buhay? Kahit walang nanay si Harry, but there were a lot of mother figures on his side. So even Hermione was playing a mother figure to him. 'Di ba? Si Mrs. Weasley, si Professor McGonagall, they were all playing mother roles to him. And that's because J.K. Rowling, if you look at her background, J.K. Rowling lost her mom while she was writing the Harry Potter series. So everything else was yon, reflection din yun ng, parang reflection siya ng mom niya. Okay, so that's what makes a book critic very interesting, and this is one of the requirements that I always look forward to. Parang lahat ng klase ko merong ganyan, book critic, kasi nga I love reading books, and I love knowing my students' interest when it comes to reading as well. I love to pick on their ideas. Dahil dito, kaya ako napabasa ng mga Wattpad stories. I never went to Wattpad before. I didn't have it before on my phone. Back when I first started teaching in UMAC, I didn't have it on my phone. I didn't even know what Wattpad is. Okay, but then my students kept asking me, Mom, is it okay to write about Wattpad? Ganyan. Publish na naman, blah, 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 blah. And I found some interesting stories from there. Okay, so ayan. So book critic, pangalawa na tayo. Sorry, nag-stray far na ako. I love talking about books. I'm sorry. Okay, so pangalawa na tayo ha. Reaction paper or review paper, and then your book critic. Okay, concept papers. Lesson 7 is concept paper. I'll be having a discussion on this. However, there's no required output. So, pahinga tayo dito for concept paper. Anyway, a concept paper is usually required, for example, if you want to propose a project, or if you want to, make things clear for someone, usually propose nga ng project. Pero, yeah, there. But concept paper we'll be discussing it, but no output for concept paper, so pahinga ng writing. And then the next output would be position paper. Position paper assumes, students, you have done this a lot of times, plenty of times already. Okay, so you'll be writing about, you'll be choosing a few or one particular issue in the society, and of course, write a position paper about it. Pero meron akong mga sinulat na pwede niyong pagpilian. Okay, so 3, nakatatlo na tayo. And then for the last one, this is what I want to focus on. Okay, so kasi yung iba dyan, you already have experience writing them. So what we're going to do is just refine those experiences. Okay, those skills that you already have, let's refine it. Okay, so that you can make better papers in the future. All right, so let's focus on this one because this is a final group activity. Therefore, this has to be done in groups. Okay, question. Do you have a research project class right now?
Yes.
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes. Are you divided into groups?
Apo.
Opo, ma'am.
Apo.
How many groups do you have in class?
5 po.
Sorry?
5 po
5
ata.
groups.
5 groups. With how many members each?
8 po ata.
8.
8.
Okay, you already have a topic?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, sige. Can you please, for each group, type it type your topic or kahit yung title lang ng inyong research project on the chat box. Halimbawa, group 1, tapos title or yung topic nyo.
Sige po, ma'am.
On the chat box, now na. Para malaman ko kung anong gagawin natin. Kahit isa lang sa group. Group 1, blank. Group 2, blank. Group 3, ganon. Sa STEM pala, dalawa yung research class nila this semester. I didn't know. They have investigatory project and they have capstone, which is quite the same if you ask me. I don't know why they have to keep it separate. Hala, wala pang topic?
Ma'am, tinatype po ata.
Gaano kahaba yung title nyo? 15 to 20 words lang ang title, Actually, 20, hindi na nga 20 ngayon eh. Maximum mo 15 na lang ang tinatanggap. Oh my God, ang haba. You know, these titles are not really accepted anymore, especially if we're going into publication. If your goal is to get published, these titles do not work anymore. Sinong teacher niya sa research project?
Ginoong Kagap.
Si Sir Kaga, kaya pala. Okay, sige. Alright, group 4, the impact of daily family dinner on addiction to online games of grade 12 humanities and social sciences. The impact, how are you going to assess the impact? Sobrang haba ng title nyo. How are you going to assess the impact? Group 4. Anyone in the group? Guys, are you still there? Are you still with me? Nasaan na kayo sa research project? May I ask?
Chapter 1
Chapter 1 po.
Chapter 1. Okay, sige. Wala pa kayong definite na methodology? Wala pang proposed methodology. How are you gonna go about your research?
Wala pa po ata, ma'am. Kasi ma'am,
Wala
yung
pa po
research
ata.
po namin is continuation po siya ng PR2.
O sa PR2, hindi ba kayo
Natapos
PR2
po
is
namin.
quanti, di ba?
Yes po, quantitative.
Quantitative siya, di ba? So, dapat meron na kayo. Methodology at least.
Ma'am, meron po kami methodology last
What?
PR2. At yung
Pero-
research project po ngayon, wala pa po.
Pero same topic din.
Yes, ma'am. Parang may dinagdag lang po. Or
Oh, yun
continuation.
naman pala eh. So, group 4, how do you plan to go about your research? Paano nyo i-collect yung data nyo dito? Sige, ano yung data gathering procedure nyo? Are you gonna conduct interviews, survey, observation, focus group discussions? Because that is where we're going to be basing your survey, scientific or field reports, your last project. Para kasi somehow it would help you. For example, kung sino yung mauna. Halimbawa, nauna tayo matapos magsulat in EAPP of this survey report. You already have a survey instrument, and in EAPP, all you have to do is just create a report from the results of the survey. So, yung sinulat nyo sa EAPP, pwede nyo na siyang magamit for your research project. That was my intention, my initial intention. That's why I want to stick with the topics that you already have. And of course, the groupings that you already have. So you can work with your group mates in here. Yun yung point ko. Pero alam nyo, haba ng nyo. um, your titles could actually still be improved in very specific kasi. Pero to be honest, like before when I was teaching research project, ganyan din yung title ko. Pero going through publications right now, medyo hindi na ganyan yung title dapat. Pero okay lang yun, start pa lang naman kayo. Okay. Very specific. So survey, halos lahat kayo survey. Yes or no?
Yes po.
Yes po, ma'am.
Ewan ko lang po sa iba, ma'am.
Wait lang ha, sige. Sabi ni Sophia, survey sila, si Danica survey po. Group 4, impact of daily family dinner on addiction. Are you trying to find a relationship between the two? Group 4? Yes or no, maybe not? Ala, walang group 4. Naku, paano yan kapag nag-defense kayo? Paano pag ako umupo sa panel nyo? Guys, nangyari. Paano pag ako umupo sa panel nyo? You have to be ready for this. You know, in graduate school, or actually even in college, you have to go through title defense first. Kailangan mo munang i-defend yung title mo bago ka makapunta sa oral defense. Okay, sige. So, are you trying to find, group 4, are you trying to find the relationship between the two? Yes or no? Kung may effect ba yung daily family dinner sa addiction? Kung nakaka-contribute ba siya, nakaka-lessen, ganon? Yes, no, maybe, maybe not. Guys.
Nag-chat po sila, ma'am.
Ma'am, nag-chat po sila sa chat box.
Yes, okay. Bakit tayo nyo sumagot? Okay, yes daw. Sige. Group 3, enhancing academic performance of yung student of SY. Is this through family involvement and engagement strategies? I'm assuming from your title, you're gonna be doing an experimental research. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Kasi enhancing eh. So, ibig sabihin, meron kayong outcome. Definitely, you want to incorporate family involvement and engagement, certain family involvement and engagement strategies to enhance academic performance of yung students. Ang tanong ko ngayon sa inyo, paano nyo ito ma-measure in a span of 2 months kapag tinapos nyo?
Actually, about that, ma'am,
Go ahead, Ana.
Sorry, ma'am. Sir Kaga told us that we won't be able to finish our research project this semester. Hanggang chapter 2 lang daw po kami, hanggang methodology lang daw po. Hindi daw po namin magagawa yung mismong application. So hanggang
Chapter 2, that's only review of related literature. No.
Actually, we already done the review of related literature, ma'am.
Diba?
Chapter 2 is the methodology.
Chapter 2 is methodology?
Apo, ma'am. That was his
Hindi pa
sample
RRL
purpose format. Nilagay niya po yung RRL sa chapter 1.
Pinagsama niya. So, IMRAD.
May
Naka-IMRAD
format,
po.
IMRAD po.
Ayun, ma'am.
IMRAD siya.
Yes, po.
IMRAD yung format niya. So, introduction, methodology, results, and discussion. Okay. Pero hindi na ganito ang IMRAD ngayon. Okay. But anyway, so, so, experimental na kayo, but still experimental pa rin yung approach nyo. Kasi from the title ha, I'm just assuming here from the title. How are you going to go about your research?
Yes, about that, ma'am, we were planning to propose a project of film viewing as one specific strategy to be able to enhance the academic performance through enhancing the family relationship, through movies, through watching movies,
Okay.
through watching a movie together.
Okay, sige. Kasi it's quite this is quite sige, hindi naman ako yung research teacher niya. Pero anyway, so you're not gonna make use of, how do I say this? Survey?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay, so basically scientific report kayo kasi experimental yung strategy nyo. So next, group 2, effects of internalized homophobia on grade 12 LGB Humanities and Social Sciences students of higher school of University of Makati, SY 2020-2021. Effects of internalized homophobia on. How are you going to measure this? Group 2. Survey, experiment. Are you going to just identify the effects? Hala guys, nangyari. Okay. Pag-isipan nyo ng mabuti to ha. Group 2. Survey po about sa experiences nila. Okay. Survey po about sa experiences nila. Survey po sa experiences nila. Sige. May comment pa ako pero hindi ko nasasabihin. The primary aspects influencing the acquiescence to same-sex union of the grade 12 humanities and basis for gender sensitivity awareness. How are you going to measure this one?
Ano po, ma'am? Through online survey po.
Surveys po, ma'am.
Online survey. Okay. So, survey din kayo. Survey report din kayo. The interrelation between smart shaming and feminism, impact on the academic performance of grade 12 yung student of University of Makati. Interrelation? Hindi ba dapat relationship lang? Okay. So, I think survey din to. Yes, no, maybe.
No, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So, survey report din kayo. Alright, kasi you have to think clearly about your methodology because, of course, your methodology would define the data collection procedure. And that procedure will be identified in the report for your lesson 9. Okay? So, yung activity 9 natin, actually, writing a survey report siya. Kasi I really assume na more often than not, surveys ang ginagamit ng mga estudyante, especially in this setup na hindi naman siya feasible right now. Magsusurvey at magsusurvey kayo. So, what you're gonna do for this activity, for this particular activity, is that you're going to create, of course, your survey, and then you're going to implement it. Ibig sabihin, ibibigay nyo siya sa inyong mga respondents, at least 50 to 100 students. Okay? And then, create a report out of the collected data. Kaya ako tinatanong kasi, halimbawa yung mga experimental, mahihirapan kayo dito kasi paano nyo i-implement yung experiment nyo, lalo na sa ganitong setup. Okay, and then how are you going to collect the data? What are you going to present in the final group paper? So yun lang, yun yung point ko. Kaya ko tinatanong siya. And if it's feasible right now, you can always, of course, opt to create a survey that is somehow related to your topic and then implement that kahit na hindi nyo siya talaga gamitin for research project. Kaya lang kasi gusto ko talaga, as much as possible, I really want to help you out in your research project because supposedly, okay, research project, you already took qualitative, quantitative. Research project is supposedly the culminating activity of each. So, kailangan alam nyo nang gamitin kung kailan nyo gagamitin si qualitative, kailan nyo gagamitin si quantitative. Okay? So, ayun. Dapat lahat buo na siya. When I taught research project before, though face-to-face yun, buo yun. Buo namin ginawa siya. So, nag-implement sila, and they submitted until chapter 5 before. Okay, so ayun. All right. But anyway, yun lang, mahihirapan lang siguro yung iba, lalo na kung hindi naman gagamit ng survey. They have to come up with a survey of their own, and then they might find it difficult, of course, to, juggle it with the writing of the research project. But anyway, yun po. So that's it. All right. So we have 3 activities. We have 3 individual activities. The first one is your reaction review paper. And then you have your book critic, you have your position paper, and the final group activity will be your survey report or your scientific report. Okay? So, depende na yan. And the scientific report or survey report will be done in groups. And I want these groupings to be maintained in my class para hindi na kayo mahirapan. Okay. Okay, Hannah. I got that. Okay, para hindi na kayo mahirapan. Alright? So, class president, if you could please type on or post on our Facebook group the groupings for this, what do you call this? For your research project. Para kapag dito sa TBL Hub, mag-group ko din kayo for this submission. Kasi sa group submission, kahit isa lang mag-submit, okay lang. Okay, so ayun, class president, please just post the names, the groupings on our Facebook group, so I can group you accordingly.
Okay.
Clear? Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions, concerns, clarifications that you want to make regarding the requirements for the final term?
Wala naman.
Wala na po, ma'am.
Wala na po.
None. Nick, go ahead.
Ma'am, usually how long we will ma'am, read po dun sa book, ma'am? Gaano po katagal yung allotted time for book critic?
Okay, yeah. Good question. Thank you for asking that question. Okay, the first 3 individual projects, they are all due May 28. So regardless of when they started.
Sabay-sabay, ma'am?
No, not sabay-sabay. Siyempre, you have until May 28 to submit them. For example, you're already done with your position. Ay, hindi nyo pa makikita kasi yung position paper kasi dulong-dulo yon. For example, you start slowly. If you're done already with your review, response, reaction paper, then submit it. But you have, for those who are not yet done, you only have until May 28. If you're done already with your book critic, submit it. For those who are not yet done, you may do so until May 28. Kung gusto niyo pagtambak-tambakin at ma-pressure na naman kayo, magkanda ano-ano na naman ang buhay niyo, kayo na yan. It's your choice. But you only have until May 28 to submit the 3.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so don't procrastinate anymore. Ako, I don't want to procrastinate anymore. As in, I have a list right now of the things that I have to do, accomplish in a day. Kasi at least kahit may mangyaring something, alam ko yung mga nami-miss out ko na bagay and alam ko kung ano yung dapat kong gawin. So don't procrastinate anymore. Right now, today, available na naman yung video. Hanapin niyo lang dun sa reading and writing. Pero meron na naman siyang video lecture na yun talaga yung topic dun sa YouTube channel ko. So, panoorin nyo na how to write the review, response, reaction paper. And then, you can write your review, response, reaction paper kasi open na yung module today . You have Thursday for our asynchronous session. So, pwede. Kayang-kaya nyo yan. It's not, ito pa, isa pang bagay. Do not overthink things. You tend to overthink things. Sometimes you want to get that good grade, but ang dami na, dahil sobrang ino-overthink niya siya, masyado nang maraming nangyayari. So, don't overthink things. Okay, yes, Adrian, go ahead.
Ma'am, regarding po ma'am sa book critic, ma'am, can we read po books written in Tagalog po?
Yes, of course, you can. You can read it. If you can read French, why not? You can read Japanese, why not? As long as if I research about that book, and trust me, I will research about that book. I will search about that book kasi nga sobrang interest. Lalo na kapag bago yan sa akin, ay nako, trust me, babasahin ko yan. Hahanapin ko yan. Okay. Sige. Nick, go ahead.
No, ma'am, I just want to say something. You remind me of my teacher way back junior high school, ma'am. Same attitude din po kayo.
Nang mahilig magbasa?
Yes, ma'am. Bookworm din po yung prop ko last junior high school.
Yun. Reading is fun actually. Kasi sometimes, dahil ito lang recently lang because of Netflix, obviously, because of Netflix, I cannot read anymore. But every night, it's my pampatulog talaga. At a chapter, 2 pages, 3 pages in a novel, I would read it. Right now, I'm reading Clara and the Sun by, what's his name? He's a Japanese author. And kung alam niyo yun, Ishiguro, if you know Never Let Me Go, yung movie tsaka yung novel, ayun yung binabasa ko. Kazuo Ishiguro, yun yung name ng author. So that's what I'm reading right now. And dahil nga, medyo na-addict ako kasi sa Vincenzo. Sino nanonood dito ng K-drama? Na-addict ako
Last
sa...
episode niya, ma'am.
Last episode naman.
Panoorin nyo daw.
Kaya nga. So, na-addict kasi ako recently sa Vincenzo. Tapos may isa akong K-drama na pinanood recently na medyo hindi siya sikat pero available siya sa View. Sobrang nakakaiyak siya. So, addict ako dun sa ano na yun. Kaya hindi ako makapagbasa. But every night talaga, as in kapag hindi ako makatulog, I will read. Ayan. Pero yun, if 1 pages, 2 pages, I would always read. And I guess that's one of the things that I'm happy that my parents taught me. Because when I was young, this is legit, ha. We didn't when I was growing up, we really didn't have a lot of money. As in, I'm medyo mahirap pa rin naman kami until now, pero medyo nakaangat na ng konti. But when I was young, as in sobrang poor talaga namin na my parents didn't have money to buy toys. But my grandmothers and my mother would always buy me books. So my parents would shell out money for books but not for toys. Ganun yung rules namin before sa bahay. So feeling ko kaya din ako naingganyang mag-aral kasi exposed ako sa libro before nung bata ako. As in batang-bata pa lang talaga ako, marami na kaming libro sa bahay. So, I was exposed to reading books before, even before being in school. Daw kasi ako, maaga ako natutong magbasa, sabi ng parents ko. So, ayun. And that's one thing that I am grateful for. And it helps. Really, it helps. Like, kahit nga comics lang, yung mga tao nga na-addict sa comics, tingnan nyo, they have a very good sense of humor. Yung mga taong na-addict sa manga, they are very creative people. Mga nade-develop na skills from reading. Okay.
Yes,
diba? There are certain, kahit na sinabi mo lang nagbabasa ka, but actually there are skills that you get to develop from it. Kahit nga yung mga nagbabasa ng chismis eh. Dami nilang develop na
pag-usap ka sa kanila, ma'am, parang may mga sudden vocabulary words ka ma-encounter, ma'am. Like, what's the meaning of that?
Exactly. Correct. So, maganda siya. Reading really helps. As in, try it. If you're not into reading, just try it 1 page, 2 page a day. Before, I had a friend na hindi talaga siya mahilig magbasa. As in, actually, prof siya sa UMAC. Hindi siya mahilig magbasa before. Tapos, tinry niya. Ngayon, sobrang reader na siya. Prof siya sa UMAC. So, ayan. Anything else that you want to May 28, same time, midnight pa rin po tayo. I think May 28 is a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, kailan tayo ulit mag-meet synchronously? Next week, hindi muna tayo mag-meet. Okay, so May 10, asynchronous session tayo. May sasabihin pala ako later. May 17 tayo ulit mag-meet. I'll prepare an activity for us. And I think ito rin magko-coincide din dito in discussion with concept paper. So I might be talking about it as well. But I'm hoping to prepare an activity for it that is related to books, of course, and books and probably documentaries. Ayan. So tingnan natin kung how I can come up with those things. Okay, so Nick, yes, go ahead.
Ma'am, if your consultation po open until the deadline, like yung sa mga Google Forms, Google Docs.
Yeah, sige. Wait, we'll discuss that later. Ito yung nakalimutan ko sabihin. So, 17, we will meet again, May 17. And then 24, writing break. Wala tayong synchronous session for that. May 31 na ulit tayo mag-meet. Okay? To start with your survey report. Okay? So, ayan, para at least makafocus yung discussion. And then I'll prepare another activity during that time as well. Para hindi naman heavy yung ating discussion. Okay. But again, video lectures will still be available on YouTube. So, May 17 and May 31, we are scheduled to meet synchronously. Okay. Consultation. Ganito. I realized that some students might need verbal feedback. Okay, so what's gonna happen if we don't have scheduled synchronous sessions? For example, next week, May 10, wala tayong nakaschedule na synchronous session, di ba? I will open this public consultation, parang lawyer lang. I will open a public consultation, Google Meet, wherein students can join. If they're free, if they want to consult something, they can join that particular Google Meet, okay? And then, they can get feedback from me verbally. So I'll open that and then you can join. I'll post about it sa Saturday. So I'll open it for a few hours, probably 2 to 3 hours in that day, in that particular day. And then I'll just be on standby. May pumasok, walang pumasok, I'll be on standby. Okay, so if you need verbal feedback, open po yung Google Meet na yon for the feedback. I'll post the time, I'll post the link on our Facebook group. Okay, for those who are shy, who don't want to be in, verbal communication with the teacher, I'm not gonna force you to do it. So, open pa rin po tayo for Google Docs. Just make sure that you message me. Wag nyo nang i-share sa akin. I mean, how do I say this? Don't assume na just because you shared it to my email, ay i-check ko na yan kagad. Okay? Please do message me still on Facebook. Ma'am, I shared my work with you if I could get feedback. Okay? So, yon before you submit it. Alright? So, ayun po. Questions, clarifications that you want to make? Anything else? Pwede pa rin yun, just message me on Facebook. Basta yun lang, don't assume that just because you shared it to my email, ay bubuksan ko na siya. Kasi naka-filter yung messages ko sa UMAC email account. Anything else? Questions, clarifications, concerns? Wala na?
None na po.
Are we clear? Alright, I'll stop presenting.
Crystal clear na po.
Crystal clear. Sabi niyo yan, naka-record to Okay, sige, let's wait. Let me just take the screenshot of the participants for today because okay. If you don't have any questions, concerns, clarifications that you want to make, then you may now leave the room. Thank you, grade 12-04HUMSS.
Thank you po, ma'am. Good morning.
Bye-bye. Good morning. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you po.
Bye po.
Bye, ma'am.